What's up, guys? How are you all? You doing? You
Not
doing
much.
good?
I'm pretty good.
Pretty
man.
good.
Did you guys all get the questions?
Yeah.
I'll go on right now. Yep, got it.
Okay. Then I'm just gonna start. Then here, hold on. Let me turn down my mic just a little bit. But yeah, so this is our third episode of Queue Up. It's just a quick little talk show that I like to throw together real quick with some experienced players that can give an insight kind of on their opinions of what's going on in the game, stuff like that. Last week there wasn't too much going on throughout the community, but this week we've had some hot fixes, some fun stuff. So I wanted to make an episode of Queue Up this week, but yeah. So I'm not gonna introduce you guys. I'm gonna have you guys introduce yourselves. So I'll start with you, Vanguards. Can you tell us a little about yourself? Maybe some of your achievements.
Sure. So I started playing WoW in Season 7. I think that's like 5 or 6 years ago. I play mostly Red Pally. Been rank 1 since Season 9 till now, so I think 5 or 6 rank 1s. I also play Enhanced in MOP, also at rank 1 levels, I guess. And recently I started playing Mistweaver, and I usually play other classes for fun as well.
All right. Boom. There it is. What about you, Mr. Kubzy?
Oh, I started playing probably about season 8, but been pretty off and on. I played mostly arenatournament.com for a couple of years, but came back to playing live in season 14, playing Warrior, and got rank 1 with it. And most people know me for playing Druid now, and I went to regionals last October.
Regionals hype. What about you, Mr. Generic? Can you list some of your achievements off for us?
Alright, I guess I'm the baby of the group. I started playing at the very end of Kata, and I kind of just got like 2200 season 11, and then after that, I've gotten 3 rank 1 titles on Rogue, and I play Warlock and Druid as well, but mainly Rogue.
All right, there it is. Sweet. So, yeah, to introduce me, I'm not any of those things. I host arena tournaments, but what do you guys think about the overall PvP balance of WoD compared to like past expansions so far? I know that we're still kind of like new into WoD, but comparing WoD's start to past expansions, do you think that we have a bright future moving forward throughout the seasons of this expansion? What do you think, Kubzy?
I think balance-wise, it's definitely not a bad first season. I mean, they're all generally like pretty terrible, the first season of an expansion, but it's not the balance that worries me so much. It's the fact that the pruning seems like the game just makes it kind of dull sometimes, which isn't something that can really be fixed like with balance. But I mean, the balance isn't too bad, so it could be okay. It's hard to say.
Balance
Depends what goes on.
so far, so good. What do you think, Generic? Has it been balanced in your point of view?
Well, I mean, I've been playing combat a little bit, so it's kind of in my favor, but I don't know. To be honest, I feel like this season, like I know the start is always kind of like rough, but I mean the game is like relatively balanced overall, I guess, like for a first patch. But it just seems like they pruned so many abilities and so many skill caps from the game, and I think they're kind of like just killing it even harder now. I know we're going to be talking about the change later, but like the 10% damage change and just like a bunch of the changes coming out, they're kind of just dumbing down the classes. I feel like. But I think if they try and like get out of that and more into bringing some other elements back in and making things like maybe harder to play again and that kind of stuff, just so you get a larger variation between like the top players and then like the sort of good players and then the lower ones and so on and so forth. But I mean overall it's not awful, I guess. It's just I think it could be better.
Yeah, I hear you there. I definitely think that the game has been simplified. What do you think,
for sure.
Mr. Quack? What do you think, man?
I feel like definitely it's just balance-wise, it's definitely okay to answer your first question. It's definitely one of the better ones, purely in a balance situation, because like Wrath first season, or like I didn't even play Wrath first season, but like I've heard all about the stories, the horror stories, the Red Pallies, the DKs, and then Mop was terrible too, Stampede. But looking for it from a fun point of view, I do see a lot. I think the game being slow creates a lot of predetermined matches, is what I like to call it. Like if I entered the arena with like playing Red Hunter, let's just say, like I know I'm gonna lose to this comp, and I know I can beat this comp. Like if I see another Hunter comp, I'm probably gonna win. If I see like
Right.
like like RMD, I'm probably going to lose. It's just like it's really predetermined, you know. Like
There's
it's
a
not
lot.
much.
Like rock paper
There's
scissors.
no left. There's no right.
Yeah,
it's
the comp countering is very like pronounced now, right?
Yep, and I feel like it's like obviously there's a lot of factors for that, but I think game pacing being slower means like, you know, even if my comp countered you in RAF, or like the other team could still win if I messed up, you know, for even 1 second they could like global me if I messed up. Like I
Right.
know that sounds silly to get gibbed in one global, but at the same time that creates like chances for shitty comps
Yeah.
to win, I suppose.
Yeah, like it brings a whole nother variable that even if you are getting counter comped, you still have that opportunity to nab a win. I like that, yeah. Like versus right now, I feel like it's slowed down to a point where mistakes aren't necessarily what's the term? People aren't necessarily being punished on their mistakes as much, I guess. But yeah, like you said, now that there's 10% less damage across the whole board. Now I'm assuming that this is just a test, that they're just testing, feeling out the waters for this sort of thing. Because I mean, do you guys think that this was a good change? Or why or why not, Kubzy?
I mean, overall, like the game, I don't think it made the game any better. That's for sure. The game's like it's really different though. But it's like before it was really stupid because like BM hunters and like Feral Druid just like one shot people. Like I felt before, I actually couldn't queue unless I had like a red paladin or only certain comps I could queue. Otherwise I just get like owned by BM hunters. But now it doesn't really feel like that. But it's like dumb in a different way. So I think like overall it's like not really a good change. Things feel a lot different, but I haven't played it that much, and definitely feels a lot different. Just have to see how it's gonna go.
Yeah. So generic. Overall, do you think that this was a good change?
No, not really. I don't know. I feel like they need to kind of pick more into like specific things that are problems, and overall, like okay, yeah, like what Kubzy is saying, it fixed part of the problem, but then it just makes even more problems. You know, it's not like I feel like nerfs and that kind of stuff should be more targeted, more focused on like actually trying to stop something, as opposed to just like, oh, the damage is high, okay, let's just global nerf it 10%. You know what I mean? But I guess at least they're trying to put it like to change it to put it more into the right direction, and maybe it was just a bad change for it. But overall, like I'm with Kubzy on this one. I don't think it made the game any better, but at least they're trying to fix it, I guess. So maybe they'll get it right here soon. I don't know.
Yeah. Sam, what do you think about the overall change?
Pretty similar. Like I can understand where the change came from, obviously, because you know, like Kubzy said, you know, Pharaohs and Hunters were really crazy. Even Red Hunter, you know, like BM Hunter comps in general. But I don't think they made the game any more fun. I can't say for balance yet because you know I just played today, and I can't really speak for balance yet. But most of my matches today were 15 plus minutes. Like literally, my last game against Boomkin Mage, there was 3 minutes left in the game, and you know, like these games are going to be really common in this current pacing. It's just I think if they're going to keep this current damage levels, they have to at least nerf healing, I guess, because healing, it's just too easy to top someone with damage at this kind of a level until high dampening comes in. So you might as well just make it maybe like dampening a little faster, but I'm not sure if that's the best way, but it's definitely too slow to say the least.
Yeah, absolutely. Do you think that there's certain classes in the game that are going to benefit more from this slow-paced game than others? Like, I see some people in chat are saying that this is going to make UA Warlocks a lot better. Would you agree with that, Sam?
I do think like the comps that Locks run would definitely benefit a lot more, like Lock Ellie, obviously, Lock Moonkin, Lock Warrior Shaman.
Harald D.
Just because Harald D, of course.
Yeah.
Oh, there you go. I think my mic was soft. But yeah, just lock comps in general, you know, are, like thrive when they can, you know, survive a long time. Because once dampening gets high enough, I'm not sure if you guys watched, you know, when Maldiva played double healer Warlock, you know, that comp had nothing to do before dampening. They can't win before dampening. It's impossible. One healer can easily heal that. But once it hits dampening, you know, like why do they always win with dampening? It's because how Warlock damage works benefits better in dampening.
Right.
And that's why double healer Warlock, as soon as it hits dampening, his PvE trinket procs, he wins. It's the same logic, just in a different kind of pacing.
It's like dampening's just like an extra CC or something. But yeah. So, I mean, so besides that overall change, we also have some individual changes. For example, druids. It seems to be specifically feral druids. Their damage got nerfed on shred. 35% down to 20%, but it's only when stealthed. So I guess that's when Incarn is up and also when they're like opening. Shred damage has been reduced. Was this a good nerf to Ferals? I know that a lot of people complained about Ferals damage, but was this the right move? What do you think, Kubzy?
I mean, I don't think it was too bad. I think that's a fine nerf. I think Ferals are, they're definitely still going to be doing okay. Yeah, and Incarn's been pretty crazy for a little while, so I think it was definitely probably a good change. But I mean, it's a small change, but I definitely think it's probably a good one.
Yeah. Okay. What do you think, Generic? Was that too much, or do you think that this change was good?
I think it's a good change because, like, I mean, you guys have seen where Feral Druids can literally, it's like the combat rogue effect. They can just kill someone through all their cooldowns and like 3 stuns in a row, and it's kind of crazy. And it's good to see that they're trying to move the game away from the whole Feral one-shot kind of thing. Like, it shows they realize it's way too high, you know what I mean? And that's good that they're trying to change it and fix it. So I think I don't know, like, I think Ferals are still going to be fine. I don't know how severe that actually is of a nerf, but it's definitely a step in the right direction, so it's good to see that.
Yeah, I absolutely agree. What do you think, though, Sam? Do you think that this was too much, or do you think that Feral Druids needed this?
I definitely think Incarn Burst was too much, along with BM Hunter Burst. I don't think that was a question, but like I said, the across-the-board nerf was probably a bad idea.
Right.
But I definitely agree with like BM Hunters and Ferals needing a burst nerf. But at the same time, like if, for example, Ferals are kind of like a really strange spec, but maybe they needed something else, like more consistency. Because the outside of Incarn, I'm sure most of us know, is like their damage is kind of weak. Yeah. So, but like Incarn being stupid is no answer to that. So they just kind of needed. I think they needed to be changed as a whole. For
right.
I feel like it should shift more towards like. Yeah, I feel like bleed damage being buffed in like the
I like
whole
their old
one-shot
playstyle
thing
damage was
good.
good.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah.
I feel like the bleed
Consistent
should be
pressure.
buffed more than like the one-shot thing, and then you don't have the whole problem like, okay, Incarn might be, wow, okay, this guy's got some damage, like we need to do something, and you're gonna force stuff, but it's not gonna be, wow, I just died through all my cooldowns and triple stun. You know what I mean? So I think, I don't know if that's the right change, but I feel like doing something along the lines of like buffing bleeds could really be good.
I think we can all agree
Ferals.
that we want individual changes and not vague 10% nerfs to
Yes,
all
exactly.
PvP combat.
Because that hurts classes that are already not doing like awesome damage wise. Like I know you guys see like sub rogues, like there's some really good sub rogues right now that are still playing sub and everything that haven't switched over. And I don't know, I feel like that hurts sub rogues a lot. Like just a 10% damage nerf. And there's other classes too that already aren't top classes, and the classes that already aren't like very good right now are just getting nerfed globally with everyone else. So it doesn't like help the problem at all. It just makes the dampening longer, you know?
Yeah. So that being said, Sam, what do you think about rets? Are they like, just like you said, there's some classes that get affected by this than others. Are ret paladins one of those classes that are going to be affected by this damage nerf over others?
I think Red's gotten nerfed a lot this patch in the sense that Red Hunter got nerfed, because Hunters obviously got nerfed a lot. I'm not saying that was a bad or good change, but it obviously harms Reds because Reds are kind of like reliant on Hunters.
Right.
Like but I'm not sure if Reds are bad yet, because today I actually played my Red right before the session, and we did really bad as Red Hunter with Yosk, and he logged on as Warrior, and we actually, I believe we actually won every single game playing Red Warrior, but every game went 15 minutes long. We just dampened people, so like.
Huh.
So maybe Rets aren't actually bad. We just have to maybe play melee cleaves again, or maybe Ret Warlock. It seems like Ret Hunter's not going to be good.
Right.
So that might be a big deal.
Man, I liked Red Hunter. What do you think, Kubzy? Is there any class a specific class out there that you think it got nerfed more than others with this damage nerf?
It's hard to say. It's like it affects certain comps a lot worse too, because. But yeah, it definitely. It's just a lot of things feel really different. Yeah. I think, and I think it's really comp reliant too. Like sometimes it doesn't affect certain classes, just like the nature of your comp. Like, and in certain matchups too. It really depends on the matchup. Like, depends a lot of
there's a lot of
matchup
variables.
shift. Yeah, there's
a lot of variables to take into consideration. And I think that was like that's kind of like the name of the theme when we keep talking about this 10% thing. It seems like a real simple thing to do, just to nerf the 10%, but it affects so much. Yeah, so we talked about it briefly with hunters being nerfed, but just to specify, tranquilizing shot now costs 50 focus, up from 20 focus. So, and this isn't just in like BM or the specs that use. Well, that's the spec that uses tranq shot the most, but this is in all specs. So, generic. Do you think that this was a good change? Do you think that they could have done this a different way, or did you even think that hunters needed to be nerfed? What's your opinion on this?
Okay, well, I think BM hunters, they're doing a lot of damage, but I mean, it's when they stick it with a feral druid, which also does a bunch of damage, that it was like the hardest. I think I actually haven't seen any hunters play any other comps really except for Thug Cleave. I don't really know. Like, I think that Nerf was way too strong. Like maybe their damage could be toned down, or maybe just increase the focus cost by like 10 or something. But putting it up to 50 was way too much. Because I mean, that's like that's
That's
basically half
250% error.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Like that's
so
really
much.
severe. It's not a joke.
Yeah, that's like way over nerf, like way too severe. It was for sure an over nerf, and I don't know. And then like what Vanguards was saying earlier, that weakens a bunch of other comps in classes too, like Ret Hunter. I mean, like Rets like he was saying are pretty strong on the Hunter. Like that's not going to be a thing anymore with that. I feel like.
Seriously.
I don't know.
So, Sam, I think I already know your opinion, but can you just elaborate a little bit? Do you think that this was a bad or good nerf, and why or why not?
Like, I do think Pirate BM Hunters needed a nerf in some way. I honestly don't think it was... I mean, like, yeah, the purging is kind of crazy, too, but they left that alone for so long, and the problem that came out of that this patch wasn't even necessarily to trinket, was their, like, rapid-fire barrage. They buffed their damage somehow. I forgot exactly what. Their stacks or something.
Right.
They should just change something with their burst, honestly, and then... that probably would have been enough,
Yeah.
Better answer than nerfing their Trink Shot by 250%, I think.
Yeah, absolutely. I don't think that... Personally, I feel like it needed to be go about differently. So I guess we can all agree. Do you also agree, Kubzy, that...
Yeah, I think it was really terrible that this nerf actually affects BM like the least of any hunter spec, because BM already has the least trouble with focus. Like,
Yeah, I'm positive
think
survival
about
to that
purging.
spec now, though.
Yeah, like think about
Survival
purging
is
as marks or survival though. It's like even worse. And then yeah,
Yeah, that's kind of weird, right?
It still made survival the better spec, though, I think, at least.
maybe yeah.
I think that it's kind of like the age-old tale that all the, like, for example, there's certain classes that all the specializations do the same role. Like, for example, hunters have like all their hunter specs that do the same role, the damage dealing role. But and then there's also classes like paladins where there's a healer, a tank, and then a retribution. Do you think this is another question? Do you think that every class role should be viable in arena, or do you think that like these classes that have the same roles, like 3 of the same roles, should Blizzard just focus on balancing one of these specs in arena? What do you think, Sam?
I think honestly the best way to go. I don't think this is possible for other reasons, but I do think like small changes, like fast changes, would be the best for PvP. But I think the limitation there, and for why, also an answer to why they didn't nerf hunters or the way we wanted to. I believe PvE is a big factor for them, and I think that's the biggest problem with balancing this game constantly is PvE. It's just like it's always going to be in the way, sadly.
Yeah. It's that every single time I have this talk show, guys, that's like the biggest thing that pops up. It's like, yeah, well, Windwalkers are now crap because they were too good in PvE. Like this random stuff like that, and that seems to be the age-old tale. I don't know. So there needs to be some sort of way to differentiate PvE and PvP balance, I think, because that's the only time that we're really going to find, not necessarily balance, because we keep talking about balance, but like you said, like this expansion is like the brightest when it comes to balance out of any other. But we'll see what happens, But so this is a long question for you guys. I'm going to start with you, Generic. And the question is, in the simplest form you possibly can you give your opinion on what needs to be changed to make WoW Arena as competitive as possible in WoD? So if you had the ability, what would you specifically change to make WoD Arena competitive and fun again?
I don't know, maybe this is too general, but like I would just like to see the game more like fast paced, but the one shot sort of things just not there. Because I mean, okay, like the one shot of Jungle Cleave is way too strong right now, especially in like how they tried to slow the game down and everything. But if the game was like more fast paced, like I never played in Wrath or anything like that, but like when you watch the BlizzCon things, like the VODs on YouTube and stuff from that, like that just looked like so much fun. Every second something's happening. Every single one of your globals matters a lot. Like it's just so fast paced, and I think that's a like really good change, and that separates like the people who can play under pressure from the people who can't really handle it, and just that sort of thing.
Right.
I don't know if that like answers the question. I don't know if maybe that's
No,
too general.
exactly. That's fine because this question is a loaded one. So, so Kubzy, same question to you, man. If you had the ability, what would you do to make the current state of the game as competitive as possible in WoD?
I mean, realistically, all they can really do is just like if they just make these changes, like these small changes, like the trank shot and the shred. Like if they make more changes like that, like faster and just
Okay.
I think that would just help, like, because they can't go and redo, like, you know, I think it would be beneficial if like a lot of classes had another button. Like I think some classes just really feel like super dull, but that's not something you can really like address probably in the middle of an expansion. But so it's just probably stuck like that. So all you can really do for me is like just try and get the balance and maybe make some
I agree
phase
with you on that
changes.
for sure.
Right.
But yeah.
So both of you guys agree that you guys both want small changes, but a lot more often. And
Yeah.
Because the game stays broken for just too long at once.
Yeah. What do you think, Sam? Same question.
I think something I've actually talked about this with my friends a lot lately, and I feel like something they can do is actually make the game a little more fun first, because I think balancing the game is realistically kind of like Kubzy said, there's so much work to actually balance the game, and it's almost at the point where I feel like WoW is similar to kind of like MOBAs. Like if you don't have like bans and picks, maybe it just can't be balanced, you know?
Yeah,
There's just so much variables, you know. It's at that point where like, can you really balance this game, especially with PvE involved? I think like it's just realistically, it's just I feel like there's always going to be a problem or a comp that's just better.
Right, there's always going to be a comp that has advantage over another. You're never going to find that 50-50 shot.
I think the best thing to do is, especially in the US, like I feel like participation for arenas have really lowered, especially in the higher ratings. At least I've noticed queues are kind of bad. I feel like just the game needs to be more fun. Perhaps like twos are really really boring, and that's where most people play first.
They're so boring.
Like I don't know what you need to do about twos. I really like that dampening kicks in instantly for healer teams, but maybe healers just need to be innately weaker in twos. Things like that, and it may be like a solo queue system for Dries for people to learn the game. I think there needs to be more incentives to make the game fun, because I feel like it's starting to become a problem with participation almost. Like the hype around WoW, especially in the US, kind of died down.
Right.
And yeah, just like also like I think slow game pacing. I don't know how people feel about slower game pacing in like lower ratings, because maybe it's better for them, or maybe it's worse. I don't know. But at higher ratings, slow game pacing is just so boring. Like
so boring.
10-15 minute games, win or lose after that, you don't feel good.
Well, I can speak on behalf of them in the lower ratings. It's really boring there too.
Okay. So yeah, like game pacing being slow, it's just not fun, you know. So, like not even like balance. I'm at that. Maybe I've played WoW for so long. I just kind of feel like you can't balance this game without like picks and bans kind of a thing.
No, yeah.
I feel like it's just too hard with PvE involved.
Yeah, I
But
see.
Yeah,
how
I mean,
that
there's always
idea
going to be
works.
something that like rises and falls and stuff. But I mean, I guess that's just like the nature of any game like this. Like
People are always going to play the best thing possible because they want to win. It's
Yeah.
natural.
Yeah.
And like I think it's fine when like things like rise up and come down. It's just like the things that are happening in the game are just what are kind of like not fun for me anymore.
Yeah, yeah, I absolutely agree. I agree with everything you guys are saying today, but specifically just talking about the picks and ban phases that you're talking. We did try to do that as a tournament organization. We tried to do picks and ban phases. It's very difficult to set up, but I absolutely agree. I think that like when it comes to the rock paper scissors of like the comp advantages between teams, that there really needs to be some sort of just a ban phase. You know what I mean? But I don't know. So, if it was your tournament, Kubzy, and you were going to run it as competitive and as balanced as possible, would you consider a pick and ban phase? Why or why not?
I think that would be good. It's really hard to get. A lot of people like wouldn't want to do that because a lot of people have their teams and stuff. They don't want to split it up. So I think it'd definitely be like if you could, it would be better. I think, but you have to maybe what I was thinking, like try and encourage people to already have like 4 or 5 people on their team, like even like how it is now, and then maybe in a later week or something, like after you've already been encouraging people to like sub out comps, but like still no bans, you could just try and add bans when people are like sort of acclimatized to having players. But
Right.
yeah, it's definitely hard to implement.
Yeah. Yeah, so real quick, I just want to reiterate what a pick and ban phase is to the chat. A pick and ban phase is when you have more than just three classes or specs to choose from. So, for example, you have a whole bunch of classes and specs to choose from, and both teams then choose to ban or to pick their own class and spec, so they can actually ban out a class or a spec to prevent from fighting against that. So, for example, if this was Mr. Pandaria and everyone did not want to fight LSD, they would be banning UA Warlock, you know what I mean, to prevent themselves from facing that. And that would, but to do that, you need one, more players, essentially, more specializations to choose from, and then like a phase where you can have that picks and bans. But Sam, if it was your tournament, how would you implement that?
I think this was something that Bleachbones actually did. So like maybe like 4 or even 5-person teams, and that way like you could just have a lot of specs ready in hand, and
Right.
that could be quite interesting. But like Kubzy said, that takes a lot more setup from the players, so that might take more commitment in a sense. Because they will obviously have to have all those characters set up and ready to go, and people who multi-class. But I kind of feel like people should be encouraged to multi-class if it's going to be competitive, you know, because it makes sense. I just look at it from a MOBA perspective of how they're successful with, you know, competitive scene. It's like, you know, none of those guys only play one hero, obviously, you know. It's just kind of
Right.
obviously WoW learning a class takes way more than learning a hero that's 4 buttons, but it's just a similar idea in a sense.
Yeah,
Like it'll take
fired.
more commitments and time, perhaps, but I think
Yeah, no,
it like
absolutely
works out in
does.
the end.
And it's very hard because not only that, but they have to level these tunes, they have to gear these tunes to practice them on a live ladder. You know, like realistically, it takes a lot of investment to learn multiple
Something I was
classes.
thinking of actually regarding the fun part, like maybe like the solo queue system instead of giving titles, maybe like I don't know, maybe if you like
Wow, that'd
play
be
enough
cool.
of the solo queue, like you can get like points to getting like a level 100 character somehow, because some way for them to encourage them to play more classes. You know, like I know that sounds kind of unfair for PvE people, obviously, when I think about it, but that'll encourage them to play it, I guess, like to have, you know, more level 100s to play whatever, to try different stuff out. Because I know I personally would love to play tons of classes. It's
Yeah, me
telling
too.
me to like gear caps, not even just the leveling part. That's actually minor compared to actually gearing it. That's
Yeah.
so hard. Like so much time. Like just capping. I want to play Ellie, for example, on my shaman, and I cannot get around to capping it. It's just so annoying. Like
Yeah.
twos is so shit.
Dude,
Like
I
how do I cap?
miss the
Like wow, I have
27k
So
cap. I miss it so much. I miss having being able
I
to
miss
just
losing 100 games before capping twos, honestly. Even though it was like a abuse, I know. It's just so hard to cap.
right, right. So generic. Sorry for skipping over you there, but real quick. Oh wait, I started with you. Never mind with that question on how to change
Wait,
the whole game. Yeah. Okay, so
okay.
but yeah, I wanna stop right there with what you just said, Sam, and talk about that for a little bit. Do you think that there is enough PvP rewards in the game for not just arena but also for RBGs? Because I was talking to a couple people earlier that they said that they would be happy if there was just a little bit more incentives to keep going throughout the
I think the
season.
biggest problem of RBG is honestly it needs a cleanup. That's what I want to say. It's just there's so much annoyance to RBGs. Like I'm so scared of getting DDoS if I ever played RBGs. Like I refuse to
Community
Skype for
is
RBGs
so
ever.
toxic.
Like there's so much. I kind of feel like the community messed that up themselves. Like it's
Right.
not even really people's fault at that point.
Yeah, I agree.
Because there's so much bad, you know, rumors and bad talk. Like I don't even know if it's true anymore. But like I know I played in RBGs where my team would get DDoSed, and sometimes the other team would DC, and then maybe someone in my team did it. I don't know, you know. And then I don't want to like people starting to go, oh my god, your team is DDoSing. I'm just like, you know, who wants to deal with that stuff?
Yeah.
Yeah, I play RPGs like quite a bit, and the community is just like all the RPGs is just really really toxic, and like the DDoS, like you know, like most players have proxies now and stuff, so I guess it's not as big of a problem, but it's still like a really big problem
When
in
there's
the
20
RPG.
people, one
And
person
it's
is not
just
prepared.
yeah exactly. Out of 20 people, there's bound to be that one guy, and like people will go all out to find it, and they have like these click like link things that you can click it on accident, It's just like all this crazy stuff, and it's just
Oh my
it's
god.
not as fun as it could be. Yeah, it's just I don't know. It's so
I
toxic, and
kind of
then
feel like
like the
community just
team
messes up
drama is.
themselves.
Yeah,
Too much
like
drama.
okay, like you can't like if you're on one team, all the leaders would get mad at you. You should play with another team, and the drama is just crazy.
Yeah.
It's just not that fun.
Sorry, I'm gonna bring it back real quick to I don't even remember reward system. Do you guys think that there is a good amount of rewards when it comes to arena and stuff like that, or would you like to see them implement more rewards when it comes to RBGs and arena? Generic.
I think the arena award system is pretty cool. I really like titles because like you can always have it on your character, especially if you get the rank 1 title and that sticks with you forever. And it's like something you can have at all times. I feel like arena is pretty cool. And then like they have those tabards for like intermediate goals too. And then like anyone like a lot of people can get titles there. Like they even have like challenger, rival, duelist, all that stuff. So everyone can sort of get something from it. But in RBGs, I feel like the title doesn't really mean as much. And it'd be cool if they had some sort of like rank 1 equivalent in RBGs.
Okay.
But at the same time, RBGs are much less involved, and it's also like it's kind of hard to say how you reward RBGs too. But I think having a title could be cool, like some sort of something that signifies you are like one of the top heroes of the Horde or Hero Alliance. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I agree. What do you think, Kubzy? Do you think that there is enough rewards in the game in PvP right now, or do you think that they should add more?
I think that, I mean, it's definitely like not bad. There's a lot of rewards, but I think more rewards like could never hurt. Like if they added like more tabards, more transmog, just like little things to encourage progression and just get people to try harder. But
Never hurt,
I
right?
think, yeah, and I mean definitely there's less in RBGs, but I don't know. I think it's pretty all right.
Oh, VHL said something interesting in chat. I'm just gonna share it with you guys. He thinks that 3 players should be. He thinks that there shouldn't be more than 3 players on a team, even with a pick and ban phase. That players should learn 2 to 3 more specs for their role with a pick and ban phase. I like that. I think that's cool. I think that it should stick with 3, but.
Yeah, going back to the pick and ban thing, I forgot to like say anything on that. Like I know a lot of people, like myself included, I play with a very, very, very small group of people, and I'm pretty much always just playing the same thing with the same people because like they're my best friends in the game, whatever. I have a lot of fun playing with them, and like that's what I enjoy doing. And then if there's like picks and bans, players know what other players are good at and what they're bad at, and then like the picks and ban thing kind of just turns into like banning the people's classes they're good at or the thing like their favorite things to play, and then it kind of diminishes the fun. Like for me, if someone banned Rogue or something and I was in a tournament, I wouldn't even really want to play that much just because I really enjoy playing Rogue, and it just wouldn't be as fun for me. You know what I mean?
What if
I
they
can
like
play
a spec ban though? Like,
too, but it's just
What if they just
like
ban
they
a
ban
spec
only
of
combat,
Rogue?
Like a
then you can still
what?
play sub.
that would be fun. I have fun with all 3 specs. I've tried them all this season. That would be interesting too. But then like there's some classes where only one spec works. Like say they ban like Frost Mage, or you know what I mean? Or like if I only have one healer to
Right.
play with, like if they ban Resto Druid, then I don't really
If they
have
ban
anything to
like
go with, and then
they ban BM Hunter, then they just run survival. It's like
What do you
less.
think if it was easier to play to get to level 100 though? Like if you had access to like,
if it
let's
was
say,
easy
let's pretend this was
to
TR.
level up in gear, man, like
Like if you didn't have the gear, wouldn't
Yeah,
you
okay,
be able
'cause-
to? You probably have
Go
something
ahead.
that you'd be good with, that you would. You can't even find out because there's such a barrier. Like I don't even know what.
Yeah, I
what
know.
is
Like
reality.
okay, each expansion I've leveled up one other class to see if I like it, and it's like so far I've liked both classes that I've played a lot, but the time and effort it takes to level and then to like after
The
you
gear,
level to
man,
gear
the
up, it's
gearing.
just crazy. Like the twos grind just to get all that gear sucks, and now that you can't drop MMR, like if you're playing with like you basically have to get carried by your friends if you even want to do that. And like I don't know, I also like then getting the Ashrin thing done now that you can't just get 200 conquest points from the end. It just takes so much
I
time.
feel-
I've stopped doing Ashran for every character. since
Yeah,
the beginning.
I haven't done that
Gave
on
up.
one of my characters. Okay, last night my Druid needed 8 points to get another piece of gear, and I just couldn't get any conquest from Ashton, man. I don't know. It's just not fun to gear at all, and it's not even like okay, maybe it shouldn't be that fun because I get it's kind of like a grind process, but it's so tedious. Like it just completely discourages me from even trying anything else. I just make one other class, and then I never want to do it again.
Yeah, okay, so what you said earlier, Sam, definitely hit a note with me when you said that this game, when you're talking about, like, it has to have, like, some sort of picks and bans or something like that to be competitive. But at the same time, like you guys are saying right now, it seems very, very difficult to just start a new tune and be casually playing that while playing on your main at the same time, or even just like working. So, do you guys think
Yeah.
that they should make it easier to gear and level up a tune to multi-class more? Do you think that, or maybe just gearing? Maybe you think it be a good idea
gear.
just to make gearing easier? What do you think, Kubzy?
Yeah, I mean, I don't think anyone in like our position will really disagree with that ever, but I think like some other communities in WoW like that might like affect them some way. I don't, but yeah, like I'd be all for that. Anything to make leveling and gearing faster, like that'd be wonderful.
You guys just want to get into the action and being competitive, and I think
Yep,
that there's a
that-
lot of
that-
players like you. What do you think, Sam?
Well, yeah, like Kubzy said, I don't think anyone that's a higher rated player in WoW would even like would say no. I can't see them saying no. At least it's just more time to actually play arenas. At an even level is what really most people try to ask for, with like full gear and stuff. Because I know I would love to try a lot of different classes. Because like I've been wanting to try mage. I wanted to, I actually have played warrior and rogue and warlock in the past, but I can't even bother leveling them to 100. So yeah, just the gearing would help a lot.
Right, yeah. Leveling is kind of a joke, just like BL said in chat. But generic, do you think that if the Blizz like made it easier to gear out your tune when leveled up to max level, if this would be a good incentive for players to get familiar with other classes, or do you think that they need to do something different?
Oh, 100% if they made gearing easier. Like, okay, I see one person saying, like, gearing's easier than it's ever been. Like, yeah, you can get honor gear pretty fast now, but gearing, you have to, like, itemize, right? You have to get all the right pieces, and what's really important is that you have the conquest gear, and it's the conquest that takes forever, and that's, like, it's so hard to catch back
You
up
can't
if
even
you,
like grind it
level
in a
tier.
day. You have to wait.
Yeah,
you know,
it
for
takes
all
forever.
that
It takes
stuff.
hours
I know
and
there's a
hours
catch-up
and
system,
hours.
but still,
Yeah.
like
The catch-up
even
system's a good
capping
idea,
queues of
but
under gear character that
yeah.
you never played before. It's rough.
Yeah, absolutely. Trying to
Yeah.
get like your alt back into the game takes a long time, and that
Yeah.
me as like a tournament organizer, I every single time I hear something about making giving players an incentive to get familiar with other classes, I jump on it, and seems to be the biggest thing that players want to get familiar with other classes is to make conquest gearing easier, and I love that idea. But so now I'm going to jump right into a different section of the game. We talked about all the different things in the game, maybe some brainstorming to how to make this game better. But this is what I call a noob segment, where players from like Reddit or even the Battle.net forums ask questions, and I ask you guys the questions. So here's the first question. It's after the recent changes, is there any top tier compositions on the rise, Mr. Kubzy? Do you see any compositions in your head, or just like thinking that maybe this comp is going to be super good? Do you have any ideas?
Yeah, I mean, any dampening comp, like I just has to be stronger, right? I mean, less burst, like later dampening gains. Any comp like warlock comps mostly, or I think maybe healer training comps are good too. Now it feels like, like you either just have to dampen people or just like run at their healer. It feels really kind of one dimensional in a way, but yeah, certain comps like that seem pretty strong now.
All right. Yeah, definitely. What do you think, Sam? Do you think that there's a specific comp on your mind that you think is going to be really good?
I think comps with really tanky classes, basically similar to 6.0 again, like RLD, like warlocks, like Kubzy said. I think RMD should be pretty good too. Like just tanky, like TSG, Turbo Cleave, those stuff too. Like tanky comps that can train something ground. Tanky stuff that just doesn't die will do better. It's very similar to 6.0 is my prediction. I feel like I don't know. I saw so many Moonkins today. It's only one day, so I don't want to speak any solid, but I saw a lot of Moonkins today, so it's just kind of weird. Like I saw 3 different Moonkins when I saw 0 before this patch, so that's kind of maybe they're rising somehow. I'm not sure.
Yeah, I don't know. I gotta ask Wildlands or Supa. What do you think, Generic? Is there a comp out there that you think is going to be super good?
I haven't played enough to like cue into anything and think like, wow, this is insane. But I'm for sure like with what they're saying, tanky dampening comp, like any comp that can survive long into dampening and still do like a relatively decent amount of damage, especially things that benefit from dampening hard, like warlocks and stuff. I think those are gonna pop up, and it's just just comps like that pretty much.
Yeah.
Tanky dampening comps.
Tanky dampening. All right, that doesn't sound fun at all. I'm gonna be honest with you guys.
Exactly.
So, quick
Yeah.
question on Twitter. Yeah, mind you guys, if you guys tweet us at GCDTV_, we'll read your question out if it's appropriate here for these guys. And I had a question. Easy E said, "Do you think that the developers listen to us? I want reassurance that the game I put so much time into isn't just going to break with every hotfix." I absolutely do. I know they do. They definitely listen to us, and but there's a lot of voices, and it's all about the majority, right? Or at least like the loudest. And so I feel like they saw a lot of people complaining about burst, and that's where this hotfix came in. And I'd like to reiterate this one last time, that even though we might not completely agree with some of the changes that are coming out, it's still awesome that there is active changes. That's one thing that we've all said that we really want to see more of, is active hotfixes, quick hotfixes, you know? Not long time, a long time where there isn't a change, right? So, yes, to answer your question, I do believe they listen to us. But jumping right back into the noob questions, I got another one for you guys. This one came out... Oh, okay. What is the best way a lesser experienced player can improve? Mr. Sam Vanguards. Oh, sorry.
Let's see. I think really just playing a lot, which is like just playing twos or even doing like skirmishes could help a lot. And things like that. Really just playing and getting the experience is really important. And a lot of people ask me like, how did I get started? WoW. And honestly, when I first started, all I did was just spam trade chat every day. Because when I first started WoW, that was like my honeymoon moment. I just loved playing, and I was spam trade chat every day. And if this guy didn't want to play, or he was like someone emo, because you're gonna get some bad apples spamming trade chat. There's no way it's not gonna happen. And just live through it and just get someone new. And that's actually how I played back then. And actually on Tyke, my friends would call me like a teammate hopping whore, because I would actually keep hopping teammates without like caring at all. I would just hop team, change teams. I would leave my team and make another team. I would just keep playing every day. I
That was
just, like,
back when there was
addicted.
like...
I think that was how I improved personally, and just playing all day. That was how I did it, at least.
all day, every day. What do you think, Generic? What's the best way to improve? Or, I mean...
I think it's...
Yeah, go ahead. Sorry.
Oh, go ahead.
I was
Okay, I
just-
think it's definitely...
All right, for real,
okay,
you go.
you go. Oh, man.
No, man, I'm not doing it.
Okay, fine, whatever. I think the way to get better at the game is, like, for me, I just played a lot. Like, I would just come home from school, queue and queue and queue, and just play with anyone you can. And, like, one thing that's important, you can't really care about your rating that much. Like, you gotta just play. Like, what I would do is I would just spam trade chat, and if I had fun playing something and we were winning games, like, I would keep playing, and if it wasn't going so well or people weren't getting along, then I'd just stop and find something else to play. Because the only way to get better is to practice. So if you just keep queuing, then you'll keep getting better. And then, like, as you queue more, you start to see, like, different names when you're in different MMR brackets, and you can be like, wow, this guy's really good. And then maybe you ask them to play sometime. You can slowly, like, kind of climb your way up the ladder doing that. It's just about playing a lot, pretty much.
All right, so we definitely have confirmed that the best way to get better is to just queue up. So Kubzy, other than just like queuing up, is there any like resources, or maybe all three of you guys can answer this? Is there any like specific place where a player could go to get better? Like
Just watching streams, honestly, of your class,
Oh,
of
yeah, that's a good
course,
point.
or
Yep.
YouTube
That's
videos,
true.
stuff like that.
Yeah.
Anything like that.
Yeah, skill capped or stuff. There's stuff on Arena Junkies too, and it just helps to try and be really conscious of, what you're trying to get better at and what you can get better at, and just try and think about it. Don't just get in the game, play the game, leave the game, forget about the game, never think of it again.
That's a good point. Yeah, absolutely. I've played with many players that just want to queue up and get better, but at the same time they don't have that conscious decision making, saying that, well, this is what I need to do to get better, or this is what I need to look at what it is that I'm doing. And I feel like there's almost like this weird tunnel vision that players get. I obviously aren't common with players like you guys, but like they can queue for hours and still not get any better.
I think one way to look at it, this is how I look at it in every game, because, like, for example, even like when I play Blade and Soul, I always make mini goals. Like, okay, my first goal is to not be a complete noob and actually, press all my cooldowns, before I die at least. That's actually how I learned Blade and Soul. This is very recent. And next thing I was like, okay, I'm actually kind of know how to game now. My gear is not terrible. Let's at least hit 1600, which was like rival. And then I would work and I would still get mad every time I lose, but I'll keep playing and eventually. I think making small goals that are achievable for your current situation until you make that big goal. Because now I'm going for Glad, which is 1900 in that game, and that's what I did in WoW too. My first goal was to just learn the game and spam. But like my first step is always like spam because I have no idea where I stand. Maybe I'm magically already not bad at this game, or maybe I completely suck ass. You have to spam to actually even find out where you stand. And then once you spam enough, like okay, I am a 1700 player, I guess. How can I get better? How can I maybe get teammates that can, like at my level and can improve together? And then mixing is like, all right, let's get 2200 then. Like, how can we get 2200? Okay, we at least have to play a somewhat real comp to get 2200. So I have to find people that are these classes now, to say the least. I have to find people that are at least the same experience as me to hit 20 so that we can work to 2200. So you got to take small steps at a time.
Guys.
It's just like anything in life, honestly. It's the same, I think. You have to take small steps to reach like a big step, I guess.
Seriously, everyone who's ever played this game and wants to get better, just write everything he just said down and just reiterate that to yourselves every single day, because everything you just said there, it just like answers like all of my questions of the noob section. It's seriously. But so that being said, so like you said, you just got to spam, you got to queue all day to figure out where you're at and try to make those goals to get better. Conscious decisions, like Kubzy said. But at this point, what do you guys think is the best way to find arena partners? Generic.
Well, for me, I always just went through trade chat, and I guess it worked out. I don't know if there's like any like popular websites or I know on League and stuff like there's all kinds of websites where you can get on there, find people with your same rating and stuff. But for me, I just switched to a popular PvP server, so you like Tyke or KT, just pretty much based on where you live and you have the best ping, like physically, and then you kind of just spam the trade chat looking for players. That's what I did.
Nice. Yeah, absolutely. What do you think, Kubzy? Do you recommend any specific ways to find partners?
I don't think it really matters. I mean, you're just gonna find people and then you're gonna play with them, and if it goes good, then you can play with them more. It's just trial and error mostly.
Trial and error.
And even if your partners aren't that good, it's not like you can't get better playing with bad people. Like, you can still learn things about the game even if you're not. So even while you're trying to find partners, it's not like you're going backwards, even though it might feel like it, because if you're losing a lot or whatever.
Yeah, absolutely. Sam, anything else to add, or did they cover it?
I think that's most of it. I think there's like Teamfind, and then there's Arena Junkies has a I think the Arena Junkies, honestly, even as an admin for it, it's mostly gladiators that use it, to be honest. I think the recruit section, but other people can use it as well, and it's still actually active despite what it, people.
No, it absolutely
like, I think
is.
there's like 5 or 6 posts a day from each player, which is actually quite a bit from the recruitment section.
Wow. So yeah, definitely branching out and looking in other places. Like if you guys are having troubles trying to find your partners, this is like the biggest question I get from everything, from GCD, from Dmachine's YouTube page, everything. Where do I find partners? And just try to branch out and do things like, for example, going onto a forum like Arena Junkies and finding partners that way. Branch out what you normally do to try to find partners. So we've answered that, the best way to find arena partners. And then the next question I have, would you recommend coaching, like one-on-one coaching to a new player? And can you explain briefly what happens during a coaching session, Generic? And first, do you offer coaching?
Yeah, my opinion might be a little bit biased because I actually do offer coaching, and to me, I think it helps, but it can be really pricey. Like most people want a lot of money to do coaching and stuff, and it gets pretty pricey. So, I mean, if you have the money to do it and like you think you can obtain something from being able to talk to someone, I think for sure it can help because you can, like most people, like the way I do it, I know Zori does it like this, you just kind of do like an hour session or something. Like you just book an hour session, and then when you go through there, you kind of, first you make sure that like they have all the basics, like they have the right macros, they're doing the right abilities, they have their damage right, they know what to do. So you can like, I know like one of the things I struggled with at first was knowing like when to press what buttons or like how to react to a situation. Like I wanted to get better, but I didn't know what to do to get better. And talking to somebody who's good at the game, it's like it can help a lot to learn what to do better. And then, but the only downside to it really is that it's kind of pricey, and I don't know, some people aren't into the whole like just paying somebody that's high rated to tell you what to do thing either.
Yeah, I think that now at the same time, I know plenty of players out there that are mediocre like myself that will play hours and hours and hours a day and continue to stay mediocre when they could have definitely got some of the best advice that anyone can ever give by spending some money. So I mean, it's time. I mean, you could have prevented a lot of time wasting, you know. But what do you think, Sam? Do you promote coaching, and do you coach?
I do. Kind of like Generic said, it is kind of pricey, so it depends on the person. Obviously, I feel like it's not for everyone. For me, the way I coach is usually I'm more hands-on, I guess. Like, cause I've actually done a lot of teaching in the past, like tutoring people when I was in high school. So the way I like to teach people is like really hands-on. Like I just say like we should just arena together 2v2, or even find someone to do trees with, and then I just try to tell them like everything that's going wrong, like that I think they could do better, and that's how I do it at least. And if you know, if they think that's useful for them, then that's good because I just tell them straight up that's what's going to happen. And then, if they have any questions, of course, I'll answer it, but that's how I do it at least.
Yeah, like one of the things I do a lot too, like I don't know if it's the same thing, but we call it like play with the pros. Like you can play with two really good people, they'll tell you like what you can do better, that kind of stuff, and you play for like an hour at a time. You can ask questions the whole time. And like usually I'll do like a coaching session first where I kind of just like talk to the person, make sure they have everything set up. And then like after that we start playing some games. Maybe we'll do like 2 skirmishes, or I'll heal them on my druid or something like that. Because I pretty much just do exclusively rogues. And then you can kind of like go from there. But definitely getting into arena with them is really helpful. Because like I said, like playing is the best way to learn. And if you're playing with really good people who can tell you what to do better, you're going to learn at like such an accelerated rate.
Right. Kubzy, do you offer coaching?
I don't really, but I mean, if someone wanted to, like, I definitely do it, but I haven't really coached in the past, but I think it could definitely help you a lot. But it does depend on like what you do need. Like if you don't know the game, it's not really worth paying someone to like. If you feel stuck, I think it could definitely be worth it. And there's a lot of different kind of ways people coach. Like, I've gone over like VODs with some people, and I think that can be really helpful just for like learning a class. Like if they can stream, like, and you can just go over their games, or if you can play with them, that's good too for like game in general, maybe more so. But yeah, I think coaching could definitely be worth it if that's what you're looking for.
I like that it's like specific to the individual. Like someone could be like reading guides or watching a player, but they could be doing something wrong that they'd never known that they're doing that wrong until someone actually has an experienced eye looks at them playing and tells them, wait, you're not doing this. And personally, I ran into that a few times myself, and it took a long time for me to figure a few things out. But, you know, I think coaching could definitely be an awesome way to get better at the game. But like you said, that's the downfall of it. It's very pricey, but if this game is something you're passionate about, I recommend it. So this is my last question. Actually, it's my second to last question. I have 2 questions. Both of them are loaded. The very first question of the 2 is, if you became a game developer for one day and you were allowed to make one change to the game to better it, like permanent change, what would it be? I'm going to start with Vanguards.
God, I wanted time to think.
Okay.
I was hoping I wouldn't get called on.
Yeah, that's a big question.
Do you guys want me to ask you the other question first and then come back to this one? So you guys can like...
that's gonna take some time.
All right, the next question is, who do you think is going to win GCD TV's 7th arena tournament? And I have a link to the team list.
Let me check the team list.
I just linked it in Skype.
There's like a lot of 4 or 5 player teams, right? So it's actually kind of hard to see.
Sometimes. I think there's only like 1 or 2.
Yeah, I was looking over it earlier. I think Kubzy's team is. I'm kind of
Kubzy's team. Yeah, I already see it. That's pretty strong. Evangeline, Dilly. That definitely stands
and
a good.
They
team.
have Vase on there too.
I do feel like Red Hunter is a lot weaker now, though, to be honest. But you still have Vase, Rogue, and then you can play other stuff.
I think Stockley's amazing right now. Well, I don't know. I haven't played it yet since the Hunter nerf or whatever, so maybe it's not as strong.
I played it a little bit.
Yeah, Dilly got nerfed pretty hard.
Yeah, poor Dilly. Take a moment of silence for Dilly Poo.
The RLD, this patch RLD, Nesper.
Oh yeah, dude, Nesper's in it, and this is the patch to do it.
Oh man, the big Nesper. I would say Nesper or Kubzy is my.
Nesper or Kubzy.
I would used to say Kubzy, but this patch may have made the Nesper come back.
The Nesper dream is real. What do you think, Generic?
What a Kubzy. Oh, okay.
You might be right.
Oh, I've done my fair share of Pink Ranger slaying in the last day or two. I feel pretty confident
Oh,
against.
Duckleaf can beat it, right?
Oh,
That's I actually heard
yeah,
about that.
yeah, we
Okay,
were.
okay.
Yeah, it's
That's
pretty.
okay.
We'll just leave it at that, right? Cubs.
Yeah.
Cupsy's got confidence. So
That
can
confidence, though, coming out from Kubzy. What's your team name again, Kubzy?
We
I
put the
loved it.
hug in thug.
I love that, dude. We put the hug in Thug. Yeah, Dilly Poo was telling me that he's been trying to play Thug Cleave all week because he doesn't want to play the same comp every tournament, and I love that about Dilly. That's awesome. So, Generic, are you also with these guys? Do you think it's either going to be Kubzy or Nesper?
Yeah, I think it's gonna be Kubzy. I don't know. I think their team is okay, not like the fire shots or anything, but I think their team is pretty far ahead in Nesper, like skill wise and whatnot. Like
Right.
individual players.
I also know Rogue Hunter already beat them. Actually, I saw it. So
Yeah.
I saw
Yeah.
it.
But it's all about the bracket, how the bracket falls, right? But that's another thing
Yeah.
that I want to add is that Kubzy's team has a Vengeline, has a Rogue, has a Hunter. They have multiple compositions to really prevent the super hard counter, right? So, I mean, I think that's awesome. I think that's exactly what every team needs to really be able to ensure that they can move up in the bracket, you know, and not just get hard countered out of the tournament. That's what I want to see from teams in the future. I want to like evolve into that. But definitely Dilly Poo, Kubzy, and you guys are taking the reins on that, and I really appreciate it. Same with a lot of other teams. There's a lot of teams here that are trying to mix it up with specs and compositions, so I'm excited. That's going to come in tomorrow, guys, starting at Friday. It's Friday at 9 p.m. Eastern, 6 p.m. PST, and 3 a.m. CET, Central European Time. So if you're an awesome European and you want to come support WoW Esports, definitely tune in on Friday. That's tomorrow at 9 p.m. But yeah, so it seems like Kubzy or Nesper is gonna be well, mostly Kubzy. So we'll see what happens. But are you guys ready for the previous question? Have you guys had you guys have kind of been talking about something else though?
Yeah.
That's such a loaded question.
Oh,
Like,
it's
one
like-
change. It's so hard to say.
Yeah.
Dude, it's a big deal. You know, I'll give you guys some examples from previous, because I ask this every single show. What would they
Okay.
do? And so the previous answers I got from Sony Digital said that he wants to balance the game around 1v1s and have 1v1 tournaments.
What?
Yeah, that's what Sony
That's
Digital.
actually
Ah,
what?
That's Sony Digital
I don't know
for
about
you.
that.
Venruki said that he would change how to gear, like we were talking about earlier. He would say, I think he
Oh,
said
that-
make gearing easier.
I'm
And
100% with that.
Yeah.
Yes.
okay, so do you guys all agree with the gearing one then?
Yeah,
I can
think-
agree with it. I think another one I would say is just. I already know the problem with what I'm about to say. I just want to say faster, small changes in general. But the problem
Right.
with that is PvE. Like,
Right.
so it's just stuck on that.
So your one change. Okay. So you have two changes. You'll change separating PvE and PvP balance somehow, some way, and then faster changes.
Yeah, faster, small changes to really get
I
close
love
as
it.
possible, I suppose.
Yeah, I want faster. And you know what? Like, even though that 10% nerf came out of nowhere and stuff like that, I'm still so happy that there is a hotfix. Like, I want more hotfixes, you know? So, but Kubzy, do you have anything on your head that might be a change?
Nothing too small. You could just do, but I think in general, like 2v2 really sucks this expansion, and it's like so boring compared to last expansion. I had so much fun, but now it's just like, I don't know. It feels so like dumb now compared to before.
I
But I
really
think that's
like
because the
2v2
amount of
Wrath
abilities.
Kata. I don't know why.
Yeah.
Even in Kata, it was decent. Wrath was the best, but it just felt like people could die, but you had really long games still. But it felt like people could always die at any moment.
At any moment, yeah.
You don't feel like that anymore until 10 minutes in.
Okay,
Yeah.
so I'm just going to do a quick summary of our chat. 1, fast changes more often. And then another one was, oh man, is that it? Is that really is that like the only summary I could really?
Another thing, to kind of like step away from what Vanruki was saying, like add something unique. I think it'd be really cool if they had like a League of Legends type solo queue thing, like with skirmishes, but with an MMR system built in the skirmishes, and maybe even like an individual rating for it. I think that would be awesome and that would like I don't know, that would be a lot of fun.
I think
And
so
then
too.
that would
That
help with
sounds
learning
really
things
fun.
too.
Yeah, that would be awesome.
If
That'd
I
be
could just
awesome
log
for-
in and queue up alone without having to get a team together and everything, and like just play, that would be so much fun.
That would-
Especially on alts and stuff.
Like I said earlier, that was like the biggest question I always got is how do I find new players to get better with? I mean, I think the competition would be better too because players would be getting better without having to go through that tedious process of putting a team together, you know? But, that would be cool. So, solo queue, gearing
Yeah,
faster.
like maybe you could check like preferred
quick
comps or
changes.
something to play. Like I want to play with these partner classes, or like, and then you could play with people who want to play what you're playing. They'll be around your same skill level with the solo queue. I don't know. It could be a lot of fun, I think. And just like make sure there's no things like double healer or like really like tank classes, like no blood DK. You know,
I don't want people to
that.
like get annoyed at it, you know.
Right.
Yeah,
If
it
people
should
were
be something
familiar-
fun.
If people were familiar with how solo queue worked on the European private like arenatournament.com servers, like it's
love
actually
that.
so good.
It's so
Like
cool.
it makes good matchups for you. Like it's just it's really nice, and it's not
It's always healer,
so
caster, melee. It's so fun.
Yeah.
Oh, man. I'm so excited for this make-believe game we're making, guys. It's going to be awesome.
Right?
But I'm going to conclude the show there, guys. Thank you all so much for coming on. Generic, would you like to shout out your Twitter or whatever? Do you have and you stream? Can you shout out all your
I have
stuff?
my stream at Generic the Rogue. I don't really tweet or anything like that though. But yeah, check out my Twitch at Generic the Rogue.
Here, go ahead. Here, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah, I typed something.
Okay, thank you. Generic the Rogue. That's his channel, guys. If you want to go check him out, I'm going to type it in chat. Thank you for coming on, buddy. I really appreciate it.
Yeah, thanks for having us. Also, I want to say, awesome job with the tournament, man. It's really cool to see like people in the community actually like someone's actually organizing tournaments now for people to play in every week, and it's just like it's a lot of fun for everyone that plays in it. Like I've played in it a couple times, and most of the times it's just like random last second thrown together things, but I've still had a blast.
Yeah,
with it
you
every
guys are so
single time.
fun to watch, though, for real.
Yeah, it's a good time.
Mr. Sam, the Quack Vanguards. Any shout-outs to your website, anything like that?
Shout out to Arena Junkies, and I guess this is my Twitch, I suppose. And my Twitter, if anyone actually has questions for me, they can always go there, or my Facebook page, either way. And that's about it. Thanks for hosting me.
No problem, man. Thanks for coming on. I really appreciate it. Yeah, shout out to Arena Junkies. I also want to shout you out, Mr. Sam. Thank you so much for supporting the tourney dream, dude. Been so
Yeah, no,
helpful.
not at all, man. It's awesome to have actually tournaments going on. It's like, because like yeah, like Generic said, it really helps hype the game up a lot too.
It makes it so much more fun, like knowing, like, oh man, I get to play an arena or play a tournament soon. I get to watch it. It's just a lot of fun.
Thanks, guys. I really appreciate it. Kubzy, you're up, dude.
I made a Twitter like 2 days ago. I have about 3 followers.
Oh my
Like in
gosh.
chat.
Link that shit. Let's follow Kubzy, team.
Yeah, it's pretty big.
You got weed.
I got you. Here we go. Yo,
I got
follow
a Twitch
Kubzy,
too,
guys.
but I can never stream because I have bad internet. I link the Twitch too. It'll get banned. You can get it there.
Dude, Nightbot to Nazi. It's not my fault, guys.
But yeah,
Alright. Follow Kubzy's Twitter, guys. He needs more followers. He needs more love. And thank you guys so much for coming on. I am going to end the stream now. I'll see you gents later. Peace out.
Yep,
Peace out.
later.
Hey, thanks for having us. Peace.